Hi, Brian. Hi, Linda. Hi, Jean. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday Loving Kindness class. My name is Alex. It's wonderful to be here with you. I don't know. I was kind of a loss for words there for a minute. So welcome to all of you online. Welcome to everyone here. Again, this is the Wednesday Loving Kindness class. My name is Alex. And can I get a show of hands? Anyone? Is there anyone here? It's your first time to the Dharma Bum Temple? Oh, welcome. How'd you hear about us? Okay. Anyone here? It's not your first time to the Dharma Bum Temple, but it is your first time to Wednesday. No. Okay. Awesome. Well, so the format of the classes here at the Dharma Bum Temple are: we're going to have this brief introduction. We're going to do a meditation on loving kindness, and then what we're going to do is I'm always interested in your experience of meditation. I know it could be difficult to kind of share like in front of a group of people what your experience of meditation is, but whatever experience you have, whether however you want to categorize it, someone else has probably had that same thing, or maybe they had the same experience or a similar experience during the meditation. And every time there's some hesitation, and then finally somebody says something, and then usually somebody after that says, "Oh yeah, me too. So that's how I know this is true, just from experience. And so we'll get into a little bit of that after the meditation. The word that we talk about is metta. That's the Buddhist word. There's no such thing as a Buddhist language. There's the Pali language. It comes from Pali, which is an ancient language that is probably similar to what the Buddha spoke, the historical Buddha. And when translating this word into English, it could mean a lot of things. It could mean loving kindness, unconditional friendliness, goodwill, and these different definitions really come in handy for the different people you do this for. So if you're doing this for like an enemy, loving kindness doesn't always come tripping off the tongue for a lot of people, and that's okay. But you can have goodwill for somebody. And it's more than that. Hey, John. It's more than that. It's also a wish for ourselves and for others to be happy. And more importantly, to do the things that cause happiness. And if you know anything about the Dharma Bum Temple and our motto, think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds, those are things that cause happiness. And in a nutshell, that's what we try to do every day. In the Metta Sutra from the Buddha 2,500 years ago, that's basically what he says. And that this is the sublime abiding. And so, what we try to keep this in mind. And we try to keep in mind that this practice is not just a seated practice. This practice is a daily, throughout our day practice. The great thing I like about the Buddha's instructions on meditation is that, there are 4 positions of meditation that the Buddha talks about. So there's seated, lying down, standing up, and walking. Those are the 4 positions of meditation, which means you could be meditating or engaging in meditation or meditative practice at any time during the day. Whether you're sitting at work, whether you're standing, whether you're walking somewhere, whether you're lying down, getting ready for a nap, you could always engage in some sort of mindfulness, some sort of loving kindness, some sort of something that's Dharma related and getting a benefit out of it. And I like that he says that, because this is a cumulative kind of practice. Everything builds upon everything else, and everything counts. So I like that I can do this at any time during the day, even if I'm busy. I can engage in this practice. I can stop and I can take 3 deep breaths, and I can have loving kindness for myself, and so I don't stress out so much, and that counts. That is practice, and that we can practice throughout our day. So normally I do this in a modified way. We had a request to do it in the more standard way, which I will do this time, but I probably won't do for a while after that, just because I won't. It's a long time to explain. But I'm okay with requests. Requests are fine. And so the standard way to do it is we're going to have loving kindness for ourselves. We're going to do that first because that's the most important. Did you have something?
Nope, I just scratched my head.
Oh, sorry. I saw it out of the corner of my eye. And then we'll do this practice for a benefactor, and then a neutral person, and then the enemy, and then all beings. Right? And so that's kind of the progression when we do it the standard way. And it makes sense a lot of times. You always start with yourself because you're closest with yourself. And then a loved one is really close to you. And then a neutral person is, not so close to you. You don't really know them that well. And this is where you really begin to, break down the barrier between self and other. When you really start to include everyone in your meditation, just to start. And then, the enemy, the people you don't like very much. And the thing about doing this practice for the enemy that is really, really important, and that I need you to keep in mind, is that when you do the practice for the enemy, you need to start with not the mortal enemy. If you have a mortal enemy, there's one person on earth who you cannot stand the most. That's not the person you want to start with. You always want to start small. Just start with a mildly annoying person. And you think about, even though we have conflict, I still just want you to do the things that cause happiness. And the great way to think about this is, if you're doing the things that cause happiness, and they're doing the things that cause happiness, and what causes happiness, which is these well-intentioned thoughts, words, and deeds, then your loving kindness will never get in the way of their loving kindness. There's never going to be a conflict there. Right? And also sometimes the word goodwill instead of love might be more appropriate as well. Okay. All right. Any questions before we start? Awesome. Hi, Marcel. Yes, hi.
How about if there's someone who's never experienced meditation, are you going to guide it or talk about that?
Oh, yes, I will be guiding this meditation, so I'll be giving instructions throughout. So don't worry about that. I'm sorry for our new person. Don't worry about it. I will be giving instructions throughout. You've been here before, right?
I have.
Yeah, yes. I know you have. Okay. It's the same as always. I always give instructions. I mean, sometimes there have been times when there have been people, I'm looking out at the audience and I know who's online, and it's like, you all have been here before a lot, so I will just ratchet down my instruction and give like really limited instruction. But I will let you know beforehand. Other than that, it's always full instruction. All right, but thank you for that. All right, guys, let's do this. So just allow your eyes to close, making sure you have that position that's nice and comfortable for you and sustainable. so you're not likely to move around too much. And when we sit like a Buddha. And you can even imagine yourselves as a Buddha sitting underneath your own tree of enlightenment. And you can choose whatever tree that is, a mighty oak, a redwood, sequoia, a willow tree, eucalyptus, anything you want is fine. So you can just imagine yourself there, just ready for the day's abiding. And so at first, let's just get connected to the breath, because even during the loving kindness part of this meditation, we always want to keep at least 25% of our attention on the breath. So let's just take a deep breath all the way in and all the way out. Not forcing it, letting it be quite easy and quite natural. Feeling the breath coming all the way in and all the way out. Focusing your breath at the base of the nostrils, feeling the air go in and out as you breathe. So you really have this kind of connection point with the breath. So if you get lost in thought or whatever, always focus on that point right underneath the nostrils where the air goes in and out. And so to begin our formal practice of loving kindness, we'll first call to mind our own wish to be happy, our own wish to be free from pain, free from harm, our own wish to be healthy, our own wish to be at ease and at peace. And it's the wish that everyone else has for themselves too. Everyone wants to be happy, and so we wish for that for ourselves. We ask for that. We aspire to that. And you can either radiate loving kindness back onto yourself, or you can repeat phrases of loving kindness for yourself, phrases like, may I be happy. May I be safe from inner and outer danger. May I be well in body and mind. May I be at peace and live at ease in this world. And you can use one or more of those phrases. A lot of times I just use one of them. So as gently as you can, let's just do this practice of loving kindness for ourselves. Now, shifting our focus just a little bit to now, let's think about a benefactor. And a benefactor is anyone who has shown us great love or great kindness, someone really easy to have these feelings for. And if you think about your life and all of the people who have meant something to you or have showed you some sort of kindness that you're so grateful for, you could pick any of those people. And all you have to do is just radiate loving kindness to this person. And however you understand that word, radiate, you can picture them in your mind's eye. You can radiate loving kindness to them. You can say these phrases of loving kindness for them. Whichever way you want to do it is fine. There's a lot of flexibility here. You can have more than one benefactor. They can be living, they can be not living. This is a really safe person to do this practice for. So for the next few moments, we'll do this practice for our benefactor. And of course, smiling always helps. Now shifting our focus again to now doing this practice for a neutral person. And a neutral person is just anyone who we just don't know very well. Your postal carrier, letter carrier, your checkout person at the grocery store, the barista at the coffee shop, anybody like that. And this is where the word goodwill can really come in handy. And just picture whomever that might be. And again, this is where we really begin to do some difficult work, and we begin to break down the barrier between self and other. And you can think about, like, even though I don't know you, I still just want you to be happy and to do the things that cause happiness for you. Just like I want for me, I want that for you. And you can think of it that way. You can radiate loving kindness towards them. However you understand that word, you can repeat the phrases. There's a lot of flexibility here still. So for the next few moments, we'll do this practice of metta, of loving kindness for a neutral person. And now again, shifting our focus to now we'll do this practice for what in Buddhism we call an enemy. And an enemy is anyone who we have difficulty with. And again, like I said before, it's really best if you start with the people who are just mildly annoying, who you have a mild conflict with. And you can picture this person and just think to yourself, even though we have conflict, I want goodwill for you. May you do the things that cause happiness. May your positive, well-intentioned thoughts, words, and actions bring you that happiness. So we'll just do this for the next few moments. And finally, we can explore the limitless quality of the heart by doing this practice now for all beings in all directions, whatever living beings there may be, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, those seen and unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born. May all beings be at ease. Spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded. This is said to be the sublime abiding, this loving kindness meditation. By not holding on to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, is not born again into this world. That is the promise the Buddha makes. That is how important this meditation is. So we'll do this practice for all beings just to end this meditation just for a couple of moments. So just open your eyes when you're ready. Just spend the next couple of minutes as we stretch our arms and we stretch our legs, still keeping that mindfulness of loving kindness about us as much as humanly possible. Because you can still have these thoughts. You can still do this practice while we stretch. So we'll just stretch for a minute or two and we'll begin. If you have a question or a comment, either online or you folks can let me know afterwards, and we'll get started. Well, I will probably have a question for you first. All right. Whew. Still good for me. Still good for me. As you know, the more and more I do this practice, the more and more grateful I am for this practice. And you know, I don't know. It's just sometimes I don't have the words about how it makes me feel, or how grateful I am for this. Because I remember when I started and I didn't feel anything. And my teacher said, you don't have to feel anything. Don't worry about not feeling anything. Just do the practice. Just do that repetition. Just do that repetition. Just the phrases, or, you know, just that. And I learned just to do this for myself, because that was always the hardest. You know, I'd say, may I be happy? May I be happy? May I do all of these things? And it was like I'm trying to penetrate like a steel bank vault, you know, and it's like nothing is getting through. Like nothing gets through. And here I am, I'm doing this, and I'm teaching meditation. This is like way back when I first started leading meditation. That's okay. That's okay. Just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. And, you know, now when I do loving kindness for myself, which is why I focus on that a lot. And I focus on that a lot because I see how important it is, and because I see in my own practice how important it was to, you know, not worry about anything else other than that, and not worry about not having a reaction, like warm and fuzzies all the time or anything like that, but just do the practice. It is of benefit, regardless of whether you think there's any benefit or not. There is always benefit, you know. And I kind of liken it to, there's this story I heard about where this man had a wicker basket, and he was told to go get water from the river, and so he gets water from the river, and you know he's coming back, and the water is just kind of like escaping from, you know, the wicker basket. By the time he comes back, there's only like a teeny tiny bit there, and but it's still water, and it still brings some benefit. There's still something there, and it's wet. So I think about that a lot when I'm doing this practice. So let me ask you, and this is for online as well. Tell me about this practice of loving kindness for yourself. And when you're doing this practice for yourself, do you run into any resistance? And can you tell me what that resistance is like, if so? What would you liken it to? Because for me, it was just like nothing. Like no response. Like it was just nothing. That was my experience. Nothing.
Well, for me, it sort of awakens me to what does happiness mean for me.
Mm-hmm.
I get caught up against, well, what is a happy mean? What does that entail? It is those things, I guess, free from harm, free from discourse and things like that. But happiness is for me, I have to just come back to defining it as pleasant. May not feel pleasant, sort of like that. So, but I'll butt up against that sometimes. I'll say the words happy, but not really understanding what I'm wishing for myself at that point, except the word. And I have to encompass it with an emotion and a feeling to it.
Yeah. And and you weren't here like at the very, very beginning, and where I don't think you were. I don't know. Where I kind of talked about like the things that cause happiness, right? Positive thoughts, positive words, positive deeds. In Buddhism, those are the things that cause happiness. But we don't really know they cause happiness until we do them. Until we do them and we see the benefit for ourselves. Like, oh yeah, this makes me feel better. These negative thoughts that run around in our head, they don't make us feel better. We're addicted to them and we think them all the time, but they don't make us feel better. But that's good. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. And so was there anyone who this is really easy for, like doing this practice for yourself, that just came really, really easy and really natural and really you really enjoyed? Yes.
I think for me, it's easy for me to wish well on others. But when I try to think of myself as, a kind, loving person, I have a hard time with that. Because I know in here, I know who I am. And I don't know, I mean, I get this conflict going on in my head that, Bill and Ted kind of thing, I'm not worthy. And, you all are worthy, and I gladly.
But not you.
And so I have difficulty with it. The first time I did this, it was difficult.
And so we all have that, and I'm glad that you admitted that, because it's true. I mean, that's just kind of what we all have, because that's how we're conditioned in this culture. And one of the things that might be helpful that takes place in the Therigatha and the Therigatha, and those are just books, ancient books they're the enlightenment stories of the nuns and the monks during the Buddha's time. And there's this kind of formula where a monk or a nun who is enlightened, who is an enlightened being, because these are enlightenment stories of the enlightened monks and nuns. But that doesn't mean they're not tempted. That doesn't mean that the thoughts don't arise in them, because they do. And one of the things they always do is they always question it. They always question, what is this? I'm not worthy. What is this? Who is that? Who is saying that? What is that? And in these stories, and there was, oh, this is Mara, the tempter, who's trying to arouse me or disturb me from my meditation. Who is saying this? And another way to look at Mara is just the ego. right? And we've always relied on the ego to kind of protect us. But it's, this kind of, we all have this, very codependent relationship with the ego, and so we need to say, oh, that's just the ego. Like, I know you're trying to help, but no, I am worthy. I am worthy. The real you is worthy, not this false sense of self. So always ask if you can remember, who is that? Who said that? And then have that real, oh yeah, it's just you, Mara. It's just you, Mr. Ego. I know that's not true. Because I focus a lot on loving kindness for myself because it's so important, you guys. It's the hardest one for us, though. And I know it's really, really hard. And I know for a lot of people who start this practice, when they're doing it for ourselves, it's like, I can't. I can give it to other people. Then my question would be, well, what are you giving to other people? If you don't have that experience in your own heart, what are you giving them? If you don't know what that feels like for yourself, if you can't feel it here, what are you giving all those other people? Don't you want to give them something amazing? Give them a better gift. Have that experience for yourself in your own heart, and you will give them a better gift when you do this practice for them. Since this is like gift-giving season, why not? And again, it's just the thing that is really important for all of us, because whenever during the meditation instructions I say, okay, now let's do this practice for ourselves, and if you have any resistance, like when I say that, that's how important it is. That's how important it is. If you feel a lot of resistance to that right at the beginning when I say that, let's do loving kindness for ourselves. Or when I say loving kindness for yourself is the most important thing you can have, and there's like a lot of resistance there, that's how important it is. And it's just the ego saying, you're not worthy. And all you have to say is, yes, I am. Or just say, who is that? Who's telling me that? But thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. So let me read something here from online. Jean says, less resistance or tightening than I used to have. That's good. So Jean has been with us for a while. And I'm glad. And so that's the benefit that comes from doing this. There's less resistance, and a little bit actually will get in there. And I remember there's been times where I've done this practice just for myself for an hour. I have my mala beads, and I go, because the mala beads are like 108, because 108 is an auspicious number, 108 beads, and you just kind of go around ones. It's like rosary beads, kind of go around. And I did nothing but that for an hour. And I didn't even care about any resistance or anything like that. And after an hour, after I got up, that was good. That was good. And just for a moment, I broke that barrier. And in these stories that I was telling you about, and even with the Buddha, the first, I think, 20 years after the Buddha became enlightened, he was still tempted, like every day. But the great thing about the Buddha and all these enlightened monks and nuns is that when these thoughts arise, they're very, very sticky for us. And so they stick. And when they stick, they become real to us. And the Buddha and any enlightened person, they're very unsticky. These thoughts arise, but they can't stick to anything. They can't stick to anything at all. So they never stay. They arise, but they never stay. And they can't because these monks go, what is that? And they inquire. And that's the wonderful thing, or one of the wonderful things about this practice is just that, they struggle too, and it's still a struggle. It's still a challenge. But for what they experience, for what they know, for what they feel in their own heart, it is absolutely worth it. And if you get a chance to read some of these stories, some of this is just heartbreaking. When this, especially for a lot of the women who, it was hard being a woman 2,500 years ago. It was hard. And they were offered the opportunity for enlightenment because the Buddha said, his attendant Ananda asked the Buddha, well, is there any difference? Can a woman become enlightened? Is her mind any different than a man's? And he said no. And so he allowed nuns. And they had a hard life, harder than a lot of the men, because they had no power. Okay. So just in general, what was your experience of that meditation? Whether it was easy or difficult, any part of it that was more easy or difficult, or anything that kind of went through your mind or heart when you were doing that?
Yes. I'll just say that I have a resistance to the word happiness. I feel like that is an attachment for me. It's better for me to think about it in terms of wishing peace, or but I feel like happiness is this loaded term that I wrap my brain around too much. So
Yeah.
I think that's why it's hard. One of the reasons why.
Yeah, and I get that absolutely. What she's saying is that that word happiness is a loaded word, so sometimes that's not something that's relatable. So I need to think of it in another way. I need to use other terms for that, and I think that's one of the reasons I try to define happiness, but you're still overcoming conditioning, right?
But that could just be,
yeah.
Like, maybe that's why I need to do the practice. Why am I so resistant to that word?
Yeah, what is happiness? You can even ask, well, what is happiness? What is that? And, often in Buddhism, we describe things not by what they are, but by what they aren't. Because it's easier for that, especially when it comes to enlightenment. Enlightenment, nirvana, is like what we call the unconditioned. But human language is very conditioned. And so we can't describe the unconditioned with the conditioned. So I can't sit here and describe what nirvana is with lots of words. But I can describe what it's not. And so when we do that in Buddhism, we always describe, like, in nirvana really means unbinding. So it describes it by what it's not. It's not bound to this kind of fire of suffering. And so that's how we describe nirvana, by like a fire going out. Like no attachment, no clinging, no craving. Not this, and not this, and not this, and not this. And that's how we kind of have to get to it.
But isn't that the opposite of happiness? I mean, happiness is like you want more of this thing all the time to maintain that state of mind.
Really? So This is why we have to redefine happiness. Because that's not how we define happiness. That's how our culture defines happiness,
Right.
right? And that's why I absolutely get what you're saying and how you have to look at it and use other words for this. Contentment, tranquility, peace, ease, those different types of things. That's okay. You can get there from there. And I'm glad that, Buddhism allows for flexibility in this way. That's one of the many reasons I love Buddhism, because it allows for this flexibility. So thank you for that. Yes, ma'am.
I find this work really powerful. And I didn't get resistance to sending myself loving kindness, but I didn't feel anything. So I'm glad that you.
It's okay.
It's very new to me.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you stressed that.
Yeah.
One might not feel.
It's like sometimes, I'll move this because I can't see you. It's like a big nothing burger. It's like, it's not resistance. It's just nothing. Like.
It's discouraged by it.
But that's okay. That's okay. Don't get discouraged. Just do it.
Disappointed. That's what I mean.
Yeah, definitely don't get disappointed. But it's understandable that you would be disappointed at that, because that's exactly how I felt. Like, oh, nothing's happening. And that's why, another way to look at it is we're playing the long game. One of the things we're addicted to is instant gratification. In one of my favorite movies, Postcards from the Edge, someone talks to Meryl Streep's character about Shirley, her mom, Shirley MacLaine, talks to her and goes, all you kids want is instant gratification. And she goes, instant gratification takes too long. And I was like, yeah, and that's kind of how we feel a lot of times. When in Buddhism, we're playing the long game. We're doing this for the long haul. We know we're going to get there eventually. And so we try not to get attached to having specific experiences in meditation, but all super normal. You're doing the right thing. Keep doing it. Good job. Yes.
Several weeks ago when I was here and we were doing metta, and the other way that you do it, starting with your benefactor and yourself. And I remember resisting it, thinking, wait a minute, this is not metta. What is he doing here? And then today, when you went back to the traditional, I'm resisting again. Wait a minute.
But they're both fine.
Yes.
Yeah, they're both fine. They're both fine.
Yes.
Sorry, what's the difference?
Oh, they're just a different order and a different kind of way to look at it. So. Have you been to?
I've been here before, and that one was completely. I don't remember the order.
Okay, that's fine. Because normally, my order that I normally do, which is kind of a modified way, it's not the standard way, which is kind of how we did it tonight, is you do it for the benefactor, you imagine your benefactor doing it for you, then you do it for you, and then you do it for all beings. So like no enemy, no neutral person. So we had a request to do it for an enemy, and so I'll just do it the standard way this time. So both of them are fine. I just really focus on ourselves a lot, because it's the most important, and it's the one that we find hardest to do. So I focus on that. Like, I know it's hard, but we could do it. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Let's join our palms together on our hearts, please. And may the benefits of this meditation, this discussion, be received by all beings. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be joyful and at ease. May all beings be happy. May all beings be loved and seen for the beautiful, radiant beings that they are, that you are. Thank you for coming. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and we'll see you next time. Bye, folks. Bye online.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. I don't know.